Well. How about that? Here we are, episode 23 of the Midnight Prism. Oh man, how long has it been for this show? My goodness. I mean, it's been literally forever. And, shout out to, first off, my dude, Orange Hat. Bro, I am not trying to steal your stick here. It's just, I got two Mossy O cats, and this one happened to be in range. And instead of showing off my big bald head, I thought I'd throw this bad boy on. So, shout out to Orange Hat, you know, living that life tonight, but I'm not stealing your gimmick. All right. I got to say what's up to, first off, got some people in the chat that, I love, my homies. Wes is here, of course. Wes was actually the first one here. So hail to the great Wes movie of whatever cast now. He'll always be in my heart, Wes Moody of the Wes Moody webcast, because that's what Wes does. But hail to Wes, and hail to the great Keck 44. Nice to see you, my friend. Hail to Terminus, another one of my wonderful friends. Terminus, I miss you. It's good to see you, and I hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. And that goes for all of you, my friends. I haven't. There's many of you I don't have phone numbers for and whatnot. So I hope you did have a wonderful Christmas season, New Year, and we're all here together. So that's good. Um, it's great to see Rita, and it's great to see Dwayne. And I love you, both of you. You guys are family, and I absolutely, truly love you with all of my heart. Um, Wook is in the house. Hail to you, my friend. And let me bring in Tobat because he's pulling double duty. He's in the chat, wrenching it up. Cat or Papa Cotton is wrenching it up. Hail to Helam, by the way. Helam just showed up, and as I said, Tobat's in the chat, wrenching it up. He's up to no good, and he's also going to pull double duty and jump on the show here in a second. And with that, let me introduce Tobat. And yeah, what's going on there, Lizard?
Good evening. How are
Yeah.
you tonight?
Well, you missed the shot of whiskey I did right before the right before the the show started, because I needed to break the ice because I'm awake.
Yeah, it's unusual for you to be awake this late.
Yeah, well, I got to be up for work, and look, I'll get you one of those. Just wait, because I'm operating out of StreamYard, and it's a pain. So I have to log into YouTube and do it. But whoever has wrenches is wrenching, and I thank you for that. Anyway, well, I guess I want to start off by again saying welcome back to the channel. I'm slowly but surely trying to get back into doing streaming, getting back to the shows. It's important. It's important. Everything that's uncertain in the world, you guys know it's going to shit. I know it's going to shit. Um, that veil of secrecy that they had hanging over everything, well, that's getting ripped to shreds. And it's because of people like us that are waking up, that are raising a fuss, that are giving them a kick in the ass and saying, we don't want your authoritarianism. You can shove it straight where the sun don't shine. And that is important, you guys, because the more of us that are out there raising the stink, the more of us that are going to be alive in the end. Right? That's plain and simple. You want to keep your family safe, you want to keep your family alive, push back against the bullshit. And that's what we're here for. We're here to go after the truth. We're here to talk about different topics, raise interesting questions. Ask the right questions. That is so key. And before I get into, the flavor of the show, the mystical and the fantastical and all that shit, look, I'm going to be real with you guys. I always am. And I'm going to be real with you. Like, I was going through Twitter this morning, and I encourage everyone, I retweeted it. Look at one of Laura Logan's recent tweets. Shout out to her for being a great mentor, teaching me so much about investigative journalism. And if you haven't seen that brilliant interview that Wes and I did with her, you have to go into the earlier videos on this channel and watch that. I mean, we knocked that out of the park. And Laura she's ahead of the curve. She knows, she knows that there is a component to this that goes back hundreds of years, the grand conspiracy, if you will, that they've kept from the people around the globe. I mean, we're talking every single country, because they're owned part and parcel by the global elite. But this is a secret that they wanted to keep. The damn banking families and all the assholes that are in cahoots with them. Remember that. And she's on top of it. She knows. And one of the things that Laura knows about, and I didn't get a chance to talk about this because, I haven't been live for a while, and, it's sparing when I go live. So it's important to catch up. One of the things, we just had the anniversary of January 6th. You guys know I was there. You remember me calling in to Wes that day, giving you guys a blow by blow what happened. And I live streamed from there. And that live stream actually is still up because it never had any hashtags on it. YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, they like to be content Nazis. Well, guess what? You missed, because it's still up and it's on this channel. You'll find it. You guys are very perceptive people. You will find it in my videos. But that live stream from that day, and I will preface this by saying it's grainy. It's not great quality. I was running off mobile data. And don't forget, when you get down near the Capitol, if you're in DC, there's always active jamming going on. So they're blocking signals out. So the signal quality was shit. But you got an idea. You saw real time. Okay. What that crowd was comprised of, what people actually wanted there, the substance of it. You guys saw it. I brought it to you live. And Rita is correct. They are still arresting people from J6 as recent as a day ago, raiding some other people that were there in the quote aftermath. It's just ridiculous. And Laura, on her timeline, she shared a story. She did a great feature on this one lady that was there in the tunnel. She was right in the Capitol building tunnel, and she essentially got her brains beaten in by the DC Metro Police. This wasn't the Capitol Police, this is DC Metro Police. But it's just absolutely ridiculous what this woman endured. And yet she caught a prison sentence? Are you kidding me? It's high treason on the part of the government, not the people. They say that these people committed treasonous acts. No, they didn't. The government is the one that is committing treasonous acts. All right, they've weaponized the Department of Justice and the agencies against you and I, the average citizen.
No, there was no insurrection at all, but our country was founded on insurrection to the king. So even if there was, who gives a shit?
Yes, had governments throughout history, when they become authoritarian, ruling bodies that become authoritarian, and what has always happened? The people have risen up to defeat tyranny. That's just what happens. So eventually, that's going to come around again. I mean, you
Speaking,
guys can feel it. You know it. Nobody in this audience is dumb.
speak,
And Tobet, you raised a great point. Go ahead. I know you want to say something.
yeah, I was going to say, speaking of standing up to tyranny, did you happen to see the German farmers and how they reacted to their
Hail
diesel
also movie, by the
subsidy
way.
being taken away?
Oh, I know. I know.
They were spraying crap everywhere and fertilizer, dumping manure.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. These acts, the modern day Boston Tea Party type acts, it will get the point across. But what I'm afraid of is the response by these governments to these is going to be bloody. They're going to try to make bloody examples of people, and that's where it gets scary because they're going to stop um, trying to distinguish between citizens and criminals and just start gunning down citizens, and that's what I'm afraid of. And I'm very, very afraid of that. But you know, it's bound to happen. We're going to have casualties. We're going to have damage because if we're pushing back against a global tyranny, that is what is going to happen in the course of all this. So make sure you check out that little piece that Laura Logan put up. It's very important. It really is. I can't tell you guys just how important that is. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up my X feed here, if you will. Um, the There's also something that I retweeted today. Um, Besides the Laura Logan piece, which was about this lady, Victoria Charity White. By the way, that's the lady that got beaten down. That Laura did a piece on. Um, I do want to talk about the other thing I retweeted this morning, and it was a guy, Ben Berquam, that I retweeted. Uh, he works for Real AM Voice, so shout out to him. And it was a little interview with an Iranian national that crossed the border in California illegally. And he was very forthcoming, talked about everything that he thinks is going to happen. And you'd be surprised what this man had to say about not only the border crisis, but the Islamists that are coming over the border and what a threat that they actually are. And it's surprising to see somebody from a heavily Islamic country say that, but it's a breath of fresh air. And I hope that you know people are taking heed of it. We now know that this border crisis is completely manufactured. It's part of their plan, and that's why it's paramount that we need to get the right person in office, if there even is an election that's going to be allowed to happen, because that is hanging in the balance. Hail, master of the TDS. Great to see you, and thank you, buddy, for your words of encouragement offline and everything else. Hail also to Radioactive. Great to see you as well. Um, but those are the news news-ish type of nuggets I wanted to get to before I get into tonight's topic. And as you know, the Midnight Prism is about the fantastical, the mystical, the paranormal, the metaphysical. When we talk about stuff, outside the what's happening necessarily in the world. It does tie in because all of this ties together in this life, but this is more along the lines of the wondrous. And one of the things that I kind of want to talk about that's on my mind, I've been watching a lot of stuff lately about empaths and and narcissists. Obviously, I've dealt with a number of narcissists, especially in my recent history in life. And I'm also, from the empath point of view, I am one. Now people kind of wonder and they say, what's an empath? Well, an empath is someone with a higher sense of sensing emotions. And no, it's not the cookie cutter portrayal of an empath. It's not Deanna Troi from Star Trek The Next Generation. It's not something like that. But you can physically, if you're a high level empath and you're crossed into the metaphysical, the accessing of your pineal gland, if you will. If you access that, then yes, you can blur the lines there and you have a higher empathic ability. It's not just the standard idea of an empath that's created by past traumas where it made you into a positive person, whereas past trauma turns a negative person into a narcissist. Well, past trauma can turn a positive, and that's what they think kind of creates a standard empath. But when you're a high functioning empath, it is that accessing of the pineal gland and where you actually can keenly feel emotion. It's almost like you're a mirror, and that is a very small percentage of people, because not everybody in their lifetime accesses the pineal gland. So, not everybody's going to be walking around, a telepath, an empath, a psychic of some sort. And not everybody has that. I mean, you have the bullshit psychics that sit there and make money and are like, oh, well, I see a squiggle on your hand, therefore you're 180 years old and you've lived 3 lives. No, not that. Okay. This is the real deal. This is accessing what I do believe. Okay. And let me tell you about these abilities. I do believe that God imbued us with these abilities. When we were created as a people, God imbued us with these abilities. The brain has a higher gear, if you will. It has a higher zone. All right. We have these there, but it's just that accessing of them. Not everyone in their lifetime does that. And it is a combination of factors, but not everybody gets the opportunity to access that, even though that gland is in everybody's brain, but not everybody accesses it in their lifetime. Those that do are, a precious few and far between. Like there's a lot of people that have, but they are few and far between amongst the population, because there is a lot of contributing factors to if you're ever going to access your pineal gland. But getting back to empaths and narcissists, trauma does play a role. Now, for example, I had childhood trauma because, if you guys remember, Mama Heretic, okay? Not everything all the time, as much as Mom was a walking miracle and she was amazing and everything else, she struggled with depression. in my young years, right after I was born, probably my first 7 years of life, 7, 8 years of life. Mom struggled with an alcohol problem. You know, my dad was away. I mean, his job took him all over the place. My mom was home alone a lot. She missed dad. She drank because she missed him. You know, she she had to handle the bills and the house and me and everything. And it's a lot for for mom being just home alone. So when she was stressed out and everything, she drank and she drank a lot for a while. And it took her a while to kick that habit. And I remember I had some traumatic experiences as a child. Imagine as a 6, 7 year old seeing your mother passed out on the kitchen floor and not knowing what that was. You thinking anything from, is she going to wake up? Is she sleeping? Is she dead? It was hard. And eventually mom kicked the habit, or got at least got it under control, but it took a while. But it took till later in her life. And when I was a youngster, that was pretty traumatic. So I'm just saying there are childhood traumas that start out that way. But I also inherited mom's nature, which was super compassionate. The capacity to see, no matter how bad somebody presents, the good in them. The that dogged pursuit of, like, well, no matter how shitty somebody treats me, I'm going to stick by them. If I'm their friend, I'm going to be loyal and I'm going to fix them. I'm going to fix what's wrong with them. I'm going to fix them no matter what. I've always had that. And it's a strength, but it's also a weakness, because what do we know? Not everyone can be fixed. That is one of the biggest struggles that an empath has, because we will go above and beyond. We are loyal and we will stick by you to the bitter end and try to fix your hurt. That's what we do. Now, on the flip side of that, you have the narcissist. And what do they do? Well, they walk in and they are a bundle of, they pull you in. They're interesting people. They stand out in a crowd. They tell you the grand tale of their life, their accomplishments, their, priorities, their super fancy this and super fancy that, and how interesting their life is. They will hold court in the middle of a crowd. But deep down, they are self loathing individuals. They are manipulative, because they, where the empath has a strong empathy for others, the narcissist has no empathy for others. And what do? They sow chaos, because that is what fills them up. It works in reverse. The emptying of the good in someone is what fills a narcissist cup. The taking of all that emotional connection is what fills the narcissist cup. They thrive on sowing chaos and sowing hurt, because they think so very little of themselves. Their trauma, whatever they've gone through, has caused them to be a very self-hating person, and therefore they have carved almost an alternate personality, an alternate reality, to be sure, that they live in, that they're the center of, and they try to crisscross that into our reality, because that's the way they live. But then eventually, narcissists usually get found out, and once they don't have power over you, or once you have boundaries to their bad behavior, they're going to give up. Papa Cotton says apathy has proven to be a valuable skill. Yes, it is. And I can tell you why, because stoicism, or apathy, is what shuts negative people like that down, because they have no answer for it. There's nothing that's going to fulfill them. They're just going to kick you aside like a rock. I don't know, Tobet. Do you want to say anything so far?
Sorry, didn't mean to give you dead air there. I've just been listening to you. I don't have anything to interject at the moment. I apologize.
RR calls them psychic vampires. Yes, that's I think that is a pretty apt description. RR, look, there are some, people on the NPD and BPD spectrum that at their core are good people. If you can work with them and they can confront their issues and they're willing to seek help to better themselves, then some of them can be redeemed. But that is a rough proposition, and it's a harsh proposition, because oftentimes these people can't be redeemed because they can't help themselves. And the biggest problem is they can't take accountability, so they never will help themselves. So that's the main problem you face with that. But if some can be reached, then yes, they can be helped, but very few can. Wes, you're more than welcome to pop in. Be happy to have you if you would like to contribute to the conversation. But as I said, folks, that's the thing with the narcissist, and listen, in my personal life, I am dealing with someone with, at the very least, those tendencies. And, I'm not exactly sure if it's the trauma bond or it's an actual pure love connection. I can't really say, but I know that it's hard to break, and the person knows that I know that they can't, they can't hide it from me, because the one thing that is like, that'll cut through a narcissist like a knife is a high empath, because they know there's no hiding shit from us. There's no bullshitting us, because we can see every layer. We can see all those layers of trauma, the emotionally stunted person underneath, what they've tried to build to falsify themselves, and what they actually are. We can see it all, even if that person doesn't want to show it to us. Well, in my situation, the person has admitted to me that they likely need help, that they have these tendencies, that they have endured trauma through a large portion of their life. And I understand that. And being in treatment for trauma right now, as you guys know, going through Will's death was a hard one. And God, Papa Cotton, oh my God, that is a killer point right there. Narcissism is constantly rewarded in our society. People are being programmed to be narcissistic. Well, exactly. Let me tell you this, Papa Cotton, and you will 100% agree with me. One of the biggest patterns of narcissism, pay attention to this, people, because you can pick them out. These are the people addicted to social media. A lot of your influencer type people, a lot of your people that are trying to be the pretty guys, the pretty girls of the internet. Those are a lot of the people addicted to Facebook and TikTok and things like that, are those. You can see it. hail to tiny metal trees. And without further ado, let me bring in to headed to the stage, folks, is Wes Moody of the Whatever Cast. Hail, Wes.
Hey, good to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Welcome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's good to be here. I saw you streaming and I was also insomniated and I saw the topic and I thought this is a good topic to talk about. So higher abilities is our topic. And I was just kind of listening in a bit about empathy. And I mean, yeah, tell me your experience with empathy. How does that work? Is it in a crowd of people or is it one person? How do you deal with the deception? I mean, because a lot of really good narcissists and liars, they're good at deception because they believe it at least in the moment.
Right. And when you encounter that, if you're an intuitive thinker, a common sense thinker, I mean, you can add up pretty well quickly when somebody is telling a bullshit story because you can poke holes in it. If you have that truth seeking mentality, which you yourself have, Wes, you have a keen sense to see through that. Because you can ask the little questions in your mind. Wait, why doesn't A equal B? Why isn't it? Okay, this story is far fetched because this doesn't add up with this. You can catch it really quick. Now, when you're talking about a crowd of people, for example, and I'll tell you about the time like when the pineal gland portion of me being an empath when I found out, because I'll tell you what. So I was out one night and it was at a local bar. I was with a group of about 3 friends. We had gone because it was karaoke night and we were going to do karaoke and shoot pool. And we're all walking into this place. I walk in and the pool table's there as you first walk in, and then the main bar. And then the bar would go down. It's like a dining room, almost, bigger floor, and then there's a stage in front of it. And I got to about where the main bar was, just before the steps to go down to the floor, and I just doubled over because I felt this wave of emotion from the entire room. It was like happiness, sadness, anger, uh, you know, um, ecstasy in some cases, fear. It was just everything all balled into one. All these things hitting me at once. It completely and utterly doubled me over. It was like somebody punched me in the gut. I kind of just like went down to one knee and I just told my friends, I was like, I need to go outside. I need to go outside. I go outside. Take a smoke break. You guys, I'll be back. I go outside and I literally broke down. Like I am just a complete wreck, like in tears. And it wasn't anything particular. It was just feeling all of this stuff hitting me at once. All these different emotions. Boom, 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 boom. It was the craziest experience ever, you guys. But I guarantee you, this is 100% a true story because I can't make this up. That's exactly what happened. I'm sitting out there.
Sounds like the anxiety attacks that I would have when I'd go into crowded places like that.
Yeah, and it almost manifests as an anxiety attack, but you realize that you're feeling the emotions of the room. And I tried to put it all together. I'm trying to figure out in the midst of this happening for the first time, what was that? And after that, one of my friends mentioned to me, hey, have you ever read up on, empaths and what they are? I was like, well, I watched Star Trek. You talk about Counselor Troy? I was laughing about it. And then she goes, no, not Counselor Troy. Like, this is for real, for real. Like, seriously, read up on it. And she's like, it's it's a combination of something that you actually have, and if it's strong enough in you, she's like, it's a borderline psychic ability. I mean, seriously, just read up on it. I was like, okay. So I started researching it. And then I really understood from that point. And it is rare. And it's especially rare when you have the experience where you access your pineal gland, as I was talking about earlier. And that was my experience where I accessed the pineal gland and figured out what exactly that was for the first time. And go ahead, Wes, if you want to interject.
No, that's good. Yeah, because I always have a lot of trouble going into crowded places and like that where people are close together. And, a lot of times that kind of manifests as an anxiety attack, but also what you're talking about seems to have been something I've experienced a time or two where it's just really intense and you kind of feel lost and weirdly alone when that stuff happens. Maybe that's the anxiety attack. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very it very much was like what we would consider an anxiety attack, but all those emotions hitting you at the same time. And you could feel, like I said, like a wave from that room, the entirety of the emotions in the room, you know and like you could walk back in, like when I did, and as I'm moving through the crowd, I can sense just what emotion belonged to who a little bit later on, after I got myself together and came back inside. You could. And that was the beginning of the understanding of, like, okay, so now I have access disability. Now what? Well, the what was like doing the research on it, understanding how to then filter out the noise, if you will, so that you can feel, but you have layers of defense and a filter, so that you're not walking around overwhelmed by all the time by other people's emotions. And that is just something that you learn how to do over the years and over techniques. And there are different meditation techniques. And obviously, with me being a person of faith, there's also praying and a lot of different things.
So when you're in the midst of a situation like that, how do you mentally prepare yourself before going inside, or do you? What's the coping mechanism that you use to kind of turn down the volume? I've heard different people say different things, but I want your answer first.
Well, I don't have a problem normally with crowds. And hail, Joe, good seeing you, buddy. The man.
Hail Joe's atmosphere. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you.
The man, the myth, the legend that created the United Resistance intro, the pre-intro. But no, the interesting thing about it is, first off, like I said, I don't normally have problems with crowds. And that's why that one was such an outlier. But there was obviously a purpose for it. But the thing is now with the filtering technique, this was a form of meditation. And the one that I particularly used, that I sort of liked and that I perfected for myself, was a method called the Tower of Light method. It's a meditation where you actually, visualize yourself, sitting in like almost a waterfall, like a fountain of light. And this tower of light is coming down on you. And, you start to picture, as you're sitting there and the light is enveloping you and everything else, you start to visualize the little rings appearing. And those are the circles, the filters, adding on and adding on. And you're adding those on like pieces and pillars. And those are your actual filters that you're building up to, strengthen your natural defense against, all of walking into a place and being hit by a bunch of raw emotion all at once. And so that's usually what you use to mitigate that.
That's pretty interesting. I know, like, if I go down, I'm trying to figure out an analogy completely for it, but I know, like, if I get depressed or there's negative self-talk, or I'm in one of those modes, sometimes, changing the radio station, if you will,
But yeah,
is one of the things that works. Or turning down the volume on it and distracting yourself with something else. That's interesting.
this is not brought to you by Jim Beam, although I have Jim Beam. Yeah.
Man, you're making me want whiskey now. I haven't had any.
Salut, folks. The virtual background's hiding it, but salut. All right, but yeah, I mean, I do believe that God gave everyone higher abilities. You and I, Wes, we've talked about Edgar Casey and things like that. I do believe the man was gifted. I don't necessarily believe that all this talk about psychic abilities is fraudulent, nor is it, a bunch of charlatans pushing something. There's a bunch of charlatans that claim to have high level abilities or whatever, or they do, but all their interest is a quick buck and a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole on Joey McGonigal. Do you know who he is?
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the remote viewing guy that said he worked for the government and that they had him remote view ancient Mars.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the guy. That was pretty interesting, hearing what he had to say. I would love to go on a deep dive on all the stuff the government's had, supposedly, because they like to soft release the stuff in popular culture. Scanners was I guess kind of, we had a program like that, and that Cronenberg movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I don't know if we were blowing people's heads up, but yeah. So it's like,
Well,
I remember Scanners. Oh god,
yeah,
that was glorious.
that was a great movie. Yep, you knew.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Cronenberg?
No, I don't know. It's weird. He kind of disappeared, didn't he?
Yeah, the 80s would have sucked without him.
Yeah. Tobet, what's your take on the discussion so far? Because we've gone into some interesting territory.
You have, and as a lizard with a completely different emotional structure, it's difficult for me to comprehend how you apes feel inside.
No, what do you honestly think?
I don't know. I was wondering, have you ever tried remote viewing?
No, I am kind of interested in stuff like that, but I personally don't really feel like I need to try that. I don't know. I like being me, guys. And you guys know me from being my audience, being my friends. You guys know how I am. I just like to talk to people. I like to inspire people, hear their stories, help them. That's how I'm always going to be. I'm never going to change that. And that, I think I thrive on, because I always want to help. And I am always driven by compassion and empathy. And that's just part of, obviously who I am, and a big part of who I am. So I kind of stay in the empathic realm, I suppose. I mean, the remote viewing and stuff fascinates me, but I don't know at this point if I have the energy and the wherewithal to do it. Because honestly, I'm still, you know, surviving myself, you know, and I'm trying to just handle real life. So yeah, and honestly, being under therapy for PTSD and depression, I don't know that I'd have the concentration for remote viewing right
See,
now.
to open up a little bit, I had bad experiences with the whole therapy route at a young age, so I'm very emotionally closed off.
Yeah.
So
See,
my
I'm
wife would tell
glad.
you I'm emotionally retarded.
Yeah, see, I'm glad, Tobat, that I never tried it as a young person. And I'm glad I went to therapy now. You know, I'm glad I didn't try it as a young person. I remember there was like, remember the days of the 80s, folks, and the Ritalin kids, because I was one of those, because I had ADHD, you know, and I still, to a degree, have ADHD. And I
Yeah,
remember, like, you know, they always said, just give them Ritalin, you know, and my
yep.
mom was no different. She threw Ritalin
hmm
at me, and I went to see a child psychologist for all of a week. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to talk to that guy.
Yeah, I had all kinds of medicine thrown at me until I reversed psychology to everybody. But they told me, I remember when they prescribed Ritalin, it was one of the first things, and they said, "Oh, it's going to make you act better." And I said, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah.
And I acted 10 times worse on purpose.
Wes, Wes, did you ever see the South Park episode about the Ritalin kids?
Nope, no. It's such a weird concept because so many people put their kids on Ritalin, and well, I certainly have some childhood trauma. Both of my parents, one of the few things they agreed on was that you should be natural, and I know it sounds weird since my dad had a really bad drug addiction, but that that should be a last resort as far as
Yeah.
healing. That anything healing wise, at least, not talking about recreational wise, but healing wise, you should try and do it as naturally as possible.
Well, it's like the parents in the 80s, man, they would just be like, you know, look at their kids like, you're hyper, you're going on Ritalin. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's so weird. That's so weird that people used to do that.
They treated it
Um,
like vitamins.
Yeah, you're hyper, you're going on Ritalin. All right. I
wow.
was like,
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah,
man.
I finally got out of the medication stint in middle school when I decided to, do good and pass and get everybody off my back, and pretended to take the medicine and hid it in my locker and waited until the teacher called my mom and said how great the medicine was helping me. And then I took all the pills out of my bag and handed them to my mom and smiled and went to my room. I never had to take a pill ever again.
Joe said
Nice.
they misdiagnosed him, my son, and the second day he was on, he thought he was being eaten alive by ants. Yeah, I mean, you know, in the 80s though, they didn't care. Like they just threw you on shit, man. I remember that. Like more prescription drugs floated around in the 80s than ever. And it was just like, yeah, they just threw you on shit. It's crazy. Um, you know, I want to get back up to Rita's comment. I don't want to lose it because um, she did say, you know, I want, there's a definite connection between narcissists and empaths. Yes, there is. Empaths are narcissists' favorite food. They like to target them. The uh, the the other thing is that Rita said she wants to talk about empaths who are constantly together, and your take on that. Um, so, what exactly scenario are you elaborating on? You know,
T-
Rita,
Together
when
romantically?
together romantically, or together just hanging out in a group all the time, or what? You know, if you could specify, I'll be more than happy to give my take on it. I'm sure the other guys will as well, but you know, just be a little more specific, and we'll give our take on it. You know, but Rita's giving you props, Wes. You and I have said some of the same experiences in life. You're probably the one person I know who has had very similar experiences.
Yeah, we sure have, especially when it comes to our mothers. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Rita. Rita and Dwayne both,
Hey
are
guys.
such good people. I'm so honored to have them as friends and supporters of the channel. I really am. They're extended family at this point. And so many of you in this audience are, because you've either become close personal friends of mine, or you guys are just dedicated viewers. And I couldn't do this without you. I couldn't, be able to just feel like I'm making a difference without all of us gathered here together and at least having these conversations. So it's nice. I do appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
And
I don't.
go
So
ahead.
yeah, let's explore that. Yeah. So you kind of alluded to it. It was empaths that are together, and you kind of alluded to your situation. Do you think that she also was an empath?
Well, and that goes with somebody saying, I want to address Jadenise Chaos's comment real quick. Everybody's got to have a support system. Like-minded individuals tend to stick together for comfort and someone to relate to. Yes, that as well. That's a group dynamic. Empaths can stick together in that sense. I was reading today a little bit about that very thing, about the talk of, can an empath be a narcissist? And in some ways they can, if if it's trauma based and not accessing the higher functions based, then yes, absolutely, for sure they can. Because one of the things that you will never hear is like, a narcissist being pineal gland ability, because that's 100% trauma made. It's not, anything that has a metaphysical or higher aspect to it. Empaths do, because the reading of emotion can be a next level thing, as well as just normally high tuned empathy. So there can be a metaphysical aspect to an empath, but never to a narcissist. But an empath can be a narcissist, is if they have the same tendencies. They sit there and use their ability to manipulate. They can be a formidable foe. And going back to what Wes just said, as far as my on again, off again significant other, well, she may be. I've heard her claim before that she was, but I think she's just more straight out narcissistic tendencies than she is an empath. Although I've seen her demonstrate good-hearted things towards people, so
Hey,
it's hard to say.
okay. I just had an epiphany listening to Tolbert earlier, so I don't know. I might have a casting decision here. Tolbot, I need you to do something for me. I need you to say, "You don't understand the code," and then also
How do you want me to say
sort
it?
him out. So you're going to be a Q anon enthusiast, and no one can understand the code, and you're defending Q by saying, "You just don't understand the code."
You just don't understand the code.
Oh, that's great.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
That's great.
You just don't understand the code.
I am going to let the boys banter for a second, you guys. I'm going to use the head.
Someone has to take a piss. This break has been brought to you by Drew's Dome.
Say it in your normal voice now. You just don't understand the code.
You just don't understand the code.
Yeah, so you did. Yeah, well.
You just don't understand the code.
No, you just don't understand.
You just don't understand the code.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm trying to cast this part and I'm having difficulty. I thought Black Angus reviews would have been perfect for it, but I don't know. Can't connect with them.
I'm always a letdown.
Yeah, I can. I feel that pain. I just have terrible luck. That's what I have. It's almost like a Rube Goldberg device of bad luck.
There you go. Well, you're still here, so it can't be that bad, can it?
Well, I mean, it's been a pretty rough year, that's for sure.
We're only 7 days in. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a rough 3 years.
Yeah, I would say that. I think it started in 2022, late 2022.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of weird shit happen.
We're doing. Awesome one said, "Oh, we're doing voice acting cast couch now." That's funny.
Yep. Yeah, this is the behind the scenes of Conspiracy Chronicles right now.
Yes, you have watched Tobad flop live. Flippity flippity flop. Flip flippity flop.
Now do a Latina woman and say, it is supposed to ward off the bad vibes.
It is supposed to ward off the bad vibes.
That was a little manly, though.
Yeah, it was a little manly. Plus, it was a little too Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
Hey, Tina.
I don't even know what I missed, but
I am too Hispanic.
I had too many tequilas before this interview. I'm sorry.
Nice. Hail, Tina Potion.
Tequila would be nice.
Great to see you. And awesome one says hired Islander boys.
We took you from like 12
the plane.
to 3. We apologize.
Yeah. Well, Wes, believe it or not, I actually somebody actually because I'm a short guy, somebody said that to me one time. They're like, hey, it's tattoo for Fantasy Island. They said that to me. Oh God, that was funny. At work, I would always find a way to be by myself. Awesome one is talking about being a bit of a isolationist. The thing is I know that Rita was talking about her and Dwayne in a work situation having a boss that was displayed highly narcissistic tendencies, and they kept their work crew together as this boss would be constantly, it looks like running down people and everything else, and they kept people uplifted and centered. And that's the thing that we do naturally as empaths. And this is, if I want to play devil's advocate here for a second, what you would see like somebody with narcissistic tendencies, what they would take from someone like me is, well, they would seek somebody like me out for their emotional center, for the calm that they would feel after a lengthy conversation or, a hug or whatever, just getting that dopamine hit from that. They develop that addiction to you, the same as a narcissist pulls you in and brings an addiction to you because you desire their presence and what they bring with excitement or passion or some sort of connection that they make with you on that end. So that is, the interesting dynamic between the two. So, the thing of it is, about empaths naturally, we're good at listening. We're good at, people open up to us. People are comfortable because they can feel that we have an instinctual want and almost need to heal. So we want to take your pain. We want to understand your pain. We want to, help alleviate your pain. So that's why, people will, if they have, especially if they have a friend that's an empath, that empath will engender trust because that will be the person that their friend will turn to each and every time that they need to have a deep conversation about what they're going to. Because one of the tenets that we have as an empath, it's almost like attorney-client privilege. We're never going to betray your feelings and your hurts and what you tell us to somebody else. We're not going to do that. We're going to take it in. We're going to be there for you. And we're always going to be there for you because we're very loyal people. We are loyal to the last, and that's how I am with my friends. Most of my close friends that are here right now, you guys know, it doesn't matter how much time passes between us or whatever. It's guaranteed at some point, I am going to reach out to you and check up on you and say, hey, are you okay? How have you been? Is everything all right? Because I got a sense that maybe something was off. Are you okay? You will get that call from your empath friend. That's a guarantee. And, that's why we can inspire. We can lead. We engender trust. We can have an army of support in a day because people understand what we're about. They understand we're about compassion, honesty, healing, and trust. And they will always have our back because we have theirs. Hail TZ Burton. Great to see you, buddy.
Hail TZ Burton. Welcome, my friend.
I don't have the clip on here anymore, but good God, you so make me want to share the Sasquatch lady again. Janice from the Muppets. Oh, those are good times. Oh my God, that. Oh God. I've so missed doing this show. I really have. Oh God. This is good. And speaking of where the Nephilim got started, the Nephilim drinking game, as we call it, that started doing shout out to Jason, Enter the Unfamiliar. I actually talked to him not too long ago via text. We caught up during the holidays. So when I hear from him, I will let you guys know. But apparently he's doing well. But yeah, that's where that started. And we kind of carried on the tradition between RR, Another Monster, and awesome one, Final Death Star, aka Enter the Unfamiliar. Man, love you, buddy. If you go back on my channel and watch this, we're thinking of you, and hopefully sometime you come back to YouTubing. But no, I miss those days, and we will do another. I guarantee you, as much of a Bigfoot enthusiast as I am, we will do another Bigfoot show coming up soon. It's funny because I've actually seen Bigfoot trending on Twitter a couple times. And yeah, so there's been some interesting developments there. But getting back to it as to what I was saying about empaths, that's what it is. And Rita says this is exactly right, Drew. We ignore our own pain because someone else's pain overrides ours for some reason. Well, that's why, because we're givers. We're naturally givers. We are healers by nature. That's what we are. And our compassion overrides all. So we're always going to be there for people. We're always going to put ourselves second to some degree because we're always there to heal and we're always there for our people. And that's just how we are. It's very loyalty based. And you will actually see a lot of water signs are like that. I'm a Pisces, and it's a natural connection. There's that too. Not that the zodiac really means all that much, but if you want to make a tie into it, it's very prevalent in water signs. So, Wes, any other thoughts?
Sorry, I was starting to have kind of following the Bigfoot conversation there. Well, it's good that you got a hold of Final Death Star. What's he up to?
Oh, he's been okay. It's just married life, just doing the low key thing, and I can appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, he had an interesting thing going for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, God, I haven't watched Harry and the Hendersons, I think, since it was in theaters. No, wait, I might have seen it in high school. It's like 30 years. That was but supposedly that was pretty accurate of a reflection of the Bigfoot lore, Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I will do a Bigfoot roundup. Like I said, we'll do one here in the next couple weeks. I've got to sit there and research up the latest sightings and stuff like that, and then we'll do another Bigfoot roundup, and maybe we'll have the Bigfoot lady, that the legendary clip we use, make an appearance, even though YouTube likes to strike me for those all the time, but I don't care. I'll do it again just for the grins, because it's too good not to. But yeah, we'll have to do that here in a couple weeks. I would say probably we'll do one maybe on the January 22nd show, because I'm gonna try to stay to Sunday schedule for Prism and get that back up and going regularly again. So yeah. So anyhow, yeah, the interesting thing though about all of this, and specifically the higher abilities, the empathic sense, which out of all of them is the most common. Obviously we talk about telepaths, which are exceedingly rare. I mean, if just being honest, in higher abilities, you have those that are able to do the remote viewing really well.
I've not tried that. It seems like the process remote viewing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Wes. Okay, so the remote viewing, for those of you that have kind of at least seen what they've publicly disclosed to us on how they do it, it's you have to sit down with a pencil and do things like that. It seems there's a lot of left brain involved, and I feel like for something like that, you would. It doesn't seem like a lot of instructions would necessarily be helpful, but I guess the monitor, that's the person asking them the questions, is supposed to be pretty good at directing them on course. But anyway, I tried it, and I maybe I didn't have a monitor. Maybe that's my problem. I tried to do it on my own, but I didn't have any success at it.
Well, I think people attuned to higher brain functions, like, empaths on that, psychic level, and then or telepaths, or like, mediums, or people like that. And I'm talking people with legitimate abilities, not, again, I want to differentiate from the charlatans that are just, give me money and I'll give you a reading type of people. This isn't somebody sitting around the table doing fucking tarot cards like, give me $10. Okay. This is people that have actual, attuned abilities that have access to higher brain functions. And
Yeah, this isn't like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's what you're saying.
right.
It's in the basement of the Alamo.
Yeah, it's not the tarot reader in the tent. This is actual people that can do things, and in general, those are exceedingly rare, because, as I was saying earlier, folks, not everybody accesses those higher brain functions. I do believe we all innately have them, but not everyone accesses them, if that makes sense. Through a lifetime, somebody can go without ever accessing those, but they're there. Doesn't mean that they're not there. And I think everybody has a uniquely different ability, or multiple abilities in some cases. That's rare, but they do.
I have to wonder. I was thinking about this when I was watching that documentary on remote viewing, and Ingo Swann and Joey McGonigal. I just have to wonder if we do have stuff like scanners, or we do have people that are remote viewing. How is it enforced that they're not looking at things they're not supposed to be looking at? And what happens if they do? Who's watching that? Do they have other psychics out there to police it? And
you gotta wonder, do the government
and if they are psychic, are they aware that other people are watching them? Go ahead.
do the government or global elites have people doing that? I wonder if there's like, if it goes into like white and black hat, psychics,
Like hackers.
and,
Like hackers.
that, and that's part of what is, we think about the shadow war in general, the war between good and evil, and that ties back into the spiritual war too, you guys.
Several of those remote viewers from the government, when they allegedly viewed alien bases or ships, would say that, oh shit, they know I'm watching them, and then they would have to leave really quick because they were scared, because they knew they were watching.
Right. And you have to wonder about where all of this is tied in. Look, the bottom line is, with these abilities, they're just like anything else. And I consider it, when we think about the things we have in our life, and I'm going to go faith-based for a moment, but you guys know I've never hidden it. I've never shied away from it. I'm a person of faith, and I always thank God for the gifts in my life. And this is no different for me. I thank God for this ability, for having this keen sense emotion, and to be able to uniquely help people in different ways, to be there, to be a source of comfort and centering for people. I don't take that lightly. I think that that's a gift. And that, to me, is something to praise and thank my creator for. And I always will.
Yep.
That's and it's amazing, because, as I said, in a lifetime, not everybody accesses those higher functions, even though I do believe when we were created, we were given those, but not everybody accesses those.
I never had feelings, but I would have like dreams that would come true. Like, I dreamed I was in a classroom with this young teacher and these students that I didn't know. And then 2 years later, I found myself in that exact classroom with the teacher and the same students talking about what they were talking about in the dream. It was just really weird. I had a lot of instances of that, but nothing in the waking hours. So everything for me
Hey,
has
Brahma.
been
Hail, Brahma.
dreamland. Hello, Brahma Bull.
It's interesting, Wes. Yeah, we have all the proof we need for Big Mike. Yeah.
Dong, dong, dong,
It's
dong.
not.
Oh, I meant thong. Sorry, thong.
Yeah, it's not just the Ellen video. There are so many more
Oh yeah.
sightings, I guess you could call
Oh
it.
yeah.
Joan Rivers. I miss her. She was so
There's-
funny.
There's many people that seen there's more people that seen Big Mike than they have Bigfoot. So shit.
There's
Yeah.
more evidence for Big Mike for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm married. And Drew, you've had a significant other, and Wes, I don't know, but I've never accidentally called my wife the male counter name to her name ever.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, well, one of those. Okay, he's done it on several occasions. One of those, he was referring to Admiral Michael Mullen, but the one where he's walking
Okay.
through the forest with Diane Sawyer, and he says, "My Mike, Michelle." That one's real.
Yeah. I'll give him the one where he was talking about the Admiral.
I got a Big Mike.
There's been a couple others. That's not all you have, Big, from what I heard there. Sexy buddy.
Beware the Drew.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, listen, guys, this conversation is great. From the standpoint of it's relevant, and it's something that I can speak on personally because it's something that I'm going through that struggle. Especially the empath versus dealing with somebody with narcissistic tendencies. And I'm going through that. And privately, I'll be honest, I've had a lot of friends say, man, break yourself of the toxicity. It's not worth your time or your energy. But then it's harder because, as we know with our emotions are very complex, and love is the most complex emotion of them all. And as you guys know, I'm loyal to the last, and I will probably stick by this person, until I absolutely positively can't anymore, until it almost destroys me, honestly. That's just how much that this person means to me. And it's probably far from healthy. And there's a certain level of toxicity to do this because think of it like a person that simultaneously shatters your heart but builds it, but fills it at the same time. It's mind-boggling feeling, but that's what it is right now. And if I can somehow fix her, that's great. If I can't, then it's unfortunate. And I'm putting myself on a timeline for it. I'll be honest. I'm putting myself on a timeline for it, but I'm gonna stick by her for as long as I can. That's just the truth of it. And I'm going to try to use all the tools at my disposal because it's like playing a human game of chess. It really is. It's like playing a human game of chess. And I'm going to use all the tools at my disposal to play, but play with good defense. So that's where that's at. Nice.
Well, as long as you have timelines and checks and balances and stuff, then you're at least you can approach it in a way where you're not getting caught up in something.
Well, and that's the thing, Wes, especially dealing with narcissistic people, whether it's a narcissistic love partner, whether it's a narcissistic friend, whether it's a narcissistic boss. Okay. You have to have deal breakers. You gotta have boundaries. They step over, you gotta be able to slap their hand with the ruler. No, you're not getting past this boundary. Sorry.
Yeah, see that's where it's different when you have a narcissistic parent or a relative like that, where you kind of can't. It's not as easy to disconnect or to set those boundaries, especially when you have like siblings and relatives, and grandparents involved, and aunts and uncles, where you have somebody that is very manipulative and plays people off against each other, and trying to get everybody on the same page with something like that. And that's really unfortunate. At least in the realm of love and life, it's more easy to disconnect, I would say, in those situations than when you're stuck with narcissistic family members that have like drug problems and lie and cheat and steal.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's so much harder in a family setting. Because
like I finally just this year, right? I'm 46. Right. I turned 47 this year. My older brother is, 48, turns 49 this year. And it's like I finally got him to come around on my father and his addict manipulations and all that stuff. Like finally this year, he finally gets it.
Right. And it's hard to reach them. It's really harder in the family setting though. And TZ Burton, thank you so much. TZ Burton with the $10 super chat says, Drew, glad you're back. Hey, listen, it's good to be back. I need to get back to and this is another thing. We're talking about the manipulation from the narcissistic side. This is one of the things that breaks that narcissistic manipulation, guys, because a lot of times you lose you with these people. They will suck you so dry, you lose yourself. You start to get away from things that you love. You start to get away from people you love. You start to get away from what makes you you. And that is the biggest thing, and getting back to things that really are part of your DNA, that are part of what makes you the person you are, is key. And that's why, this means a lot to me. And it's not just for me, this is something, hey, and shout out to Will, rest in peace, brother. We all miss you. Will wanted me to get back to this too. He would be tickled as could be right now that the show is going on. He wanted me to keep doing Resistance and keep doing Prism because he loved the dynamic between the two. Because sometimes they crisscrossed and sometimes they were completely different, but it was great. And it was just awesome. And shout out to my girl Becky. Great to see you back.
Hey, Becky.
Happy New Year, Drew. And our Browns are in the playoffs. Yes, they are. So happy about that. Next week against the Houston Texans. Can't wait to see that game. But yeah,
Okay, so yeah, narcissism in. I'm sorry. Did you already get to TZ Burton's super chat or?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So in a romantic sense, when you're coming across narcissism, usually there's some pretty easy telltale signs that it's like that's a red flag. Run the other direction. And for me, usually what manifests showing up is lots of gossip about other people. That's a big one. Number two, all of the exes are psychopaths or in some way abusive. So that's a big red flag. And drama. Like drama will show up, meaning there's always a crisis. Some sort of crisis will come up that's a non-crisis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And usually the crisis is a complete and total fabrication. So usually a narcissist will reveal themselves pretty quickly with one of those three items. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and you can check them. You can check them easily on their bullshit, especially if you know what their patterns are. You can check them on their bullshit easily. And there's always a triangulation factor. They like playing one off against the other. They like having you pitted against another person, either for their affection or, for some other reason. But they get off on the conflict of putting two people against one another because it's like, ooh, look, two people are fighting over me. Because they want that attention and validation. The other thing is about narcissists, you always see them, they love bougie shit. They love to go after nice cars and jewelry and, nice homes and, shit like that. Like, oh, look at me. I'm sitting in a $450,000 home. Oh, Drew, did you see the boots Gary bought me? Oh, I didn't say that for real, did I? $300 UGG boots that Gary bought me. Oh my God. Did you see this alligator belt I'm wearing? Like, I give a fuck? What? But it's shit like that. They like status. They like, adulation. They get off on that. They want their validation. But it's all shallow shit. We know, those of us that are clearly thinking people, we know that shit is shallow. Do we all like shit? Nice shit? Yeah, to a degree. We all do like nice shit, but we take it in moderation. We're happy when we get it, but it's not a necessity. It's like when we got extra money, if we can afford something nice, yeah, it's great. But most of the time, we're trying to survive. We're trying to get that bill paid, trying to keep that gas on, trying to keep that water on, trying to keep our electric, trying to keep our damn roof over our head.
You're depressing me now because I'm having trouble with all of that.
Yeah, well, Wes, but it's the truth. We're struggling at our core to survive. We're trying to just keep the basics. We ain't worried about having, a nice wristwatch on our wrist or whatever, that guys like. Because listen, I like nice watches, guys. I got a fucking Citizen watch sitting in my room that I've had for years. That, good God, I'd love to get it fixed, but I ain't worried about that right now. I'm worried about paying my damn rent. I just, I can't think in that kind of sense, but that's the way narcissism brain works.
I had no idea that Whitney Houston was a lesbian.
Huh?
Did you know that?
I didn't know that either. That's kind of shocking, bro. Not gonna lie.
P. Diddy likes to go to Turkish bathhouses.
Well,
I'm not totally surprised by that.
I'm not totally surprised by that either. Awesome one says, I missed my calculator watch. I felt top of the world. Yeah.
One of those Casio ones. Used to play had your Casio watch and would play Super Mario Brothers 3 on the console because it came out on the the arcade game first.
Yeah.
Because of the chip shortage or whatever. Well, yeah, that was weird. I watched that biopic on her.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Rita, I'm glad that I got a chance to talk about this topic actually, because listen, it's been on my mind, and when you're dealing with it, it's so many of us have dealt with narcissists and or empaths in our lives, and we've met these types of people, and what makes these people tick when it gets down to it is actually fascinating. Like, wow, how did trauma actually shape this person? What shit did they have to go through that turned them like that? These are the questions that you ask, and and especially for narcissists, that's the eternal mystery, because you never know. because they will not readily reveal it to you. You know, empaths, we're an open book. We'll reveal our shit to you. Like, hey, I know that I was shaped by this, but the positive end of it was this. You know, we'll always tell you exactly what shaped us, but
Yeah, I do feel like in certain circumstances I do have some empathy, and I feel like there definitely could be a dark empath phenomenon. I'm not that way, but I do feel that you could if you have those abilities, you probably really could manipulate somebody if you wanted to.
oh, dude, listen, you know, as an empath, especially, I mean, look, you know, in
I would feel
somebody,
like shit doing that, but go ahead.
right. I mean, you would have to be the ultimate no moral compass person to be able to do that. Like, because as an empath, you feel emotions most strongly. So your own emotions, your own guilt, I mean, it's literally like us taking a knife and stabbing ourselves in the heart when we feel guilty. It's terrible for us. It's 10 times worse. So I can bring myself to use that type of insight or ability to fuck somebody over. Because I mean it takes a special kind of like just suspension of your moral compass to do that. I can't get past my guilt to do it. You know, man, it just, yeah, I couldn't ever do that to somebody with my abilities. Now, non abilities, yes, I have significantly one time when somebody stole intellectual property from me. My empathic ability didn't come into play. I just straight out absolutely destroyed them because they stole my intellectual property. I caught them dead to rights doing it. And I basically did a fuck around and find out moment, you know, but my
Hmm.
empathic abilities didn't come into play on that. It was just straight up, hey, you know, you fucked me over, you're gonna pay, and
Yeah,
especially if you're stealing from me.
yeah, those deal stealing crackheads that I had to contend with over the last year. I don't know. I don't know if it's empathic necessarily, but I do know, through the personality profiling and the NLP and all that stuff that I've done, which buttons to push and which knife to twist in both of them, and I absolutely did. The ones that I just knew were going to wreck them both.
All right, TC Burton, thank you so much again, and you know, good night to you. Um,
Good
it's
night, TZ Burton.
we're an hour and 36 in. I'll probably go another 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'll be saying good night myself because I actually do have to get up for work in a few hours. But man, I was just jazzed up and energized for the night, so that's why I decided to do a show. Um, but yeah, people show that human beings don't handle powerful things well, and that's right. You know, and
Mhm.
that's why it's good to keep abilities in moderation. It really is. Know your limits and um, treat it as a gift. As long as you always do that, cherish it, hold it as a gift, you're not going to mistreat it. I really do believe that. You know, so anyways, I'm going to go around the panel. I'm going to let these guys talk about what they got going on, and I think we're going to wrap up because, like I said, I have to be up in exactly 3 hours. So it's going to be an early day for me. I work 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. weekly, so that is my normal work schedule. So. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening and hanging out. We had some great contributions in the chat. We had a nice turnout. And without further ado, I will go around the panel and we will start off with Wes. Tell him what you got going on, buddy.
Well, it's like you're always stuck in second gear when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. Oh, sorry, that's what I had going on. No, you can catch me at youtube.com/at whatevercast official. Talk about current events, pop culture, conspiracy theories, and whatever the heck I want to, because it is my YouTube channel. And then I am also working on an animated series called Conspiracy Chronicles that boy meets girl, boy loses girl, fucks off to the woods, and has an encounter with a violent motorcycle gang. So watch me write it and create it. And that's what I have going on. Failure and hope.
All right, and we'll go over to the Lizard Man, Mr. Tobat.
I don't have a lot going on other than poking the dragon here on YouTube, but I do all kinds of stupid content, funny content, video games, and other stuff. You can watch if you like.
And YouTube likes to pull your shit down all the time.
Yes, and I like seeing how many times I can get things pulled down without actually getting a strike.
Oh my god! You poked the bear,
and I have 0 strikes.
Oh my god!
I had one, but they kindly removed it after 3 years.
No,
thank you,
nice.
Thank you, YouTube.
Well, guys, you know me. I'm Supreme Heretic, aka Drew T, the Patriot Journalist. Listen, I'm glad that you guys have come back and supported me, and just you never forgot. You guys never left. You guys never stopped being there for me, and that says a lot about you as viewers, friends, family. I love you guys.
The best chat on YouTube.
We need to go the full 9 yards on this. I need to start getting the merch going again, everything else. I want to do that, and we'll really kind of get things back into full swing. I know the YouTube landscape has changed. Some people I know are still doing it. Some people aren't. Some people have gone separate ways. Whatever. I want to come back, stay in my lane, do my channel, do the content that you guys have always enjoyed, and I'll continue to collaborate with Wes and a few other people, and just keep it going. Because the biggest thing is, and I know Wes will attest to this. I mean, we want to keep putting good stuff out there and truth out there, where we continue to ask questions and go after the truth, and that's what is important. And we'll have conversations like this still too. We'll talk about empaths, narcissists, and how to navigate manipulation and people that are bringing toxicity and negativity. I think that's important too. It's important to stay on top of our mental health, because Wes and I talked about just a couple weeks ago the conditioning of society. They have pushed people into being narcissists. They want to turn people into negative creatures and just a bunch of like trauma bonding, self-destructive robots, because in the end, what do they want? Again, to reduce the population. You guys know that. They want to kill us off any way possible. They want to reduce the likelihood that we'll think for ourselves. So they just manipulate us. That's why it's more important than ever, to bring out the message we're bringing and continue to lead the fight. And I'm proud to be a friend of Wes and a colleague of Wes.
Likewise, man.
Because he does that just as well as I do. And together we're the tag team champions of truth, baby. And you can't beat that with the stick. And Tobat, I thank you as always for your support, brother. You are an amazing friend, an amazing brother. So,
And an asshole.
yeah, you asshole. All right.
Fairly decent voice actor too. Yeah.
You made
He is.
You made my cold blood warm.
Yep. Very Sick Narcissistic Society, The Age of Hubris. Spot on, RR. Great closing comment. And thank you, by the way. RR is an unsung hero. He comes around, supports everybody, and he wrenches for so many channels. So appreciate you, buddy. All right. We are going to say peace out. And next week, which will probably be the 15th for this show, we will do something cool. Might go UFO route next week, and then we'll go Bigfoot the following week on the 22nd or 23rd, whichever day that is, and we'll go from there. So, all right,
Who'd win a sword fight, Bigfoot or Big Mike?
Bigfoot, probably. I'll still stick with Bigfoot. Sasquatch is the man. You know?
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Well, you know, or the power of this asshole.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
Yeah. Change changing our lives, all right. All right, folks. Have a good one. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi, Coast Casino.
God, this outro brings back
Hey,
memories.
welcome to Sparky News
it really
Podcast.
does.
My name is Scott.
I'm Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews.
We used to
I
do so
am
much
the
longer.
Patriot, True Taylor, aka Supreme Heretic.
The Red Gaze on YouTube, at the Red Gaze on Twitter.
What up, what up, what up?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Vinny.
The voice of Immortal Coil.
Oh, hey, I am the Ghost Bear.
What's going on, Tommy? You get anybody to like this?
Yeah, I'm Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast.
Tone Death rocking.
We have a lot of cool things over there. I did some magic tricks.
Hi, guys. Try to stay here.
My name is Monkey Knight.